I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Where's attendance?
So, we have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion? Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Public comment? Okay. We have a motion to approve the consent items.
Motion.
Motion by Ron, second by Pete. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, that was Ron and Pete.
Pete.
Thank you.
Discussion items. Okay. GASB statement number 2.
GASB.
GASB statement. Great.
Okay, there's rules that have changed regarding, the financial record keeping for especially, student activity accounts. The auditor has been talking to us about our student activity accounts, and they knew that GASB was going to be changing. At first they were saying there was going to be huge changes and we didn't know how we were going to do it, but it looks like it's not going to be really any different than what we're doing, but we do need to pass this resolution stating that we will be following the GASB rules for the student accounts. Anything else I need to add to that? Okay.
So you're just gonna put it on the next agenda to pass it, or?
Yep. So it'll go on the next agenda, but I wanted to explain where it was coming from.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, La Crescent Montessori.
Okay, this, a potential cooperative, the La Crescent Montessori School has asked if they could do a sports co-op with us. And so you've got a lot of information there as far as resolutions for school boards for co-oping. As you know, we've already got a co-op in place with Caledonia for certain, I think right now it's wrestling. And soccer. And we've got the co-op with Rushford for track and field. The co-op language that we have with Caledonia is very different than the co-op language we have with Rushford. Lisa is still our AD, and she wrote up the language using the co-op language we have with Rushford because that's the easiest one. It's really best for both schools. So that's the language used. And Lisa, I'm going to put you on the hotspot. Is there anything?
Sure.
Yep.
And it seems like all of them are still gonna be Houston Hurricanes regardless.
Right, because they don't, Montessori doesn't have a mascot.
So I have Stephanie here, the head of schools. She also came, they're willing to take any questions. They have gone through the process of asking Independent School District 300, which is La Crescent Public Schools, to pair, and they were denied. And so currently, and the reasoning was that, I'll let Stephanie speak to that, but just looking at it overall for us, we will, the co-op, well, how I put the language is the percentage of how many kids they would add to us is the percentage they would pay. Just like we do with Rushford Pearson, the total cost and all of that. We call the Houston Hurricanes. They provide all transportation to and from our spot for practice to get on our bus. And we're really looking at, they have 25 kids in grades 7 through 12. So it will not affect our section placement. It will not affect where, and if at any point it ever does, then that will be a discussion of whether we disperse that, and which we can always revisit the co-op in general. Right now, as Stephanie put, we are looking at one to two kids per activity. But would you like to say anything? So,
Thank you. So I'm Stephanie Wayman. Thank you for having this on your agenda and for consideration. We have approached ISD 300 many times over the years to co-op with them, and it's just not something that they are interested in doing. I'm going to say this respectfully, but the reason that was given was they offer sports and we don't. So when people are making their decisions of where to go to school, they have to take that into consideration. So we never planned to be a big school. If our 7th through 12th grade program was 100% full, we'd have 60 kids. And with 60 students, 7th through 12th grade, it's not gonna support having high school sports. So we've done some other things. We're developing some opportunities for our students. For instance, we're doing an archery club, and there are some other things they can do. But they also really would like to have the opportunity to play high school sports, and we'd really like them to do that too. Because we're a charter school, our kids come from more than just La Crescent. We've got several kids that live in Houston. So when we mentioned the possibility, they were pretty excited about that because, like you said, they would be a hurricane and that would be really cool. So I'm happy to take any questions, but I'm just really thankful that you are willing to at least bring it to the table to discuss it.
I guess I always thought that the Montessori school was part of the Crescent District. What is the?
Yeah, we're a charter school, and as a charter school in Minnesota, our school is its own district.
But you have a sponsor?
Yeah. Yep, which is Audubon Center of the North Woods. Yep, so we're not sponsored by our district.
Okay.
Would they be able to practice times? I mean, there's a driving distance of a good 20 minutes. Can they get here for the onset of practices, whatever they're scheduled for?
We start school earlier than you and we get out earlier, so I think it's gonna work out well. You start practice at 3:30, yep, and our kids are out at 3, so it shouldn't be an issue.
And when you enter a co-op agreement, it's gotta be a minimum of 2 years for being a co-op.
Any other questions yet? Ron? Maybe you have any?
Yeah, I have a couple. I walked in kind of late, but Todd, how do you feel? I'll just put you on the spot, but.
It's not many kids, and we're giving kids an opportunity, in another school. I don't think it's a bad thing. We have to do it in other schools. I mean, the other way, we don't have enough kids, so I don't see this as being a problem at all. Yeah.
Is it across the board, all activities?
no, she specified which ones through her, the survey she had done at school, which ones that they were interested in, and any of our co-ops, we didn't even touch those because that would be a whole new co-op agreement.
Right.
So we just left those, so it's not everyone, it's just the specific ones that they were
The list
interested
is softball, robotics, one act play, golf, football, dance, boys basketball, and baseball.
It's girls basketball too.
in. Yeah, girls
Right,
basketball.
so it wouldn't change the
Okay.
name in any fashion?
No,
Okay.
It is girls basketball.
It's just BB here, but if you want to read it,
It's
boys and girls.
okay.
Okay.
Same.
Mhm.
and they are asking 7 through 12 as opposed to 9 through 12, which just makes sense to me, and that as you,
That's kind of our schools.
yeah, that's what we do, so, yeah.
Not volleyball.
Volleyball was on there.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Okay,
I might disseminate it on there, but you did send me that.
okay.
I think that just being part of some of this stuff with robotics in the past, I think we just need to be careful of the dynamic of when you have kids. In this case, it will be dominated by Houston kids, but I mean, I think the coaches just need to have some tools to deal with that. I mean, we don't want these kids to we want them to be able to be a part of the team, and how can we best make them part of the team as opposed to, because they're not gonna know these kids if they come and play varsity basketball, if they're 10th or 11th or 12th grader, these kids have known each other for so long and been part of a team, so how do you incorporate them and make it be a good experience for them as well?
And I will still be employed at the time if you approve this, and so then I have ready to let the coaches know and what they need to do so that they are welcoming. And right now, most of our coaches are welcome to any more kids, as a, you know, it just allows for more opportunity overall and not so much of a struggle with moving kids up and around and everything, so.
And you said 1 to 2 kids per activity?
Currently, and then she made the comment, as soon as they find out they can be a hurricane though, it might increase, you know?
It's not been an option for them before, so I think once that opportunity opens up and they realize this is something they can do, it's gonna start happening.
And with basketball, you know that there's early practice, late practice, and all of that.
I think that's gonna be on there.
Multiple buses and.
And
Yeah.
actually the best part about this, it will demand Houston to be exceptional communicators. It has to be, you know, and so in that, if last minute, oh, let's do this, no, there's no last minute, it needs to be planned ahead and communicated. So, so that part I was really excited about, that it just really forces the issue of over communication for everyone, which there's never too much of it, so.
I think basketball is having had a kid in it, it's a challenge just because you never know. It's hard to do anything but that, because if you schedule piano lessons, you know, every other week it's a conflict because it's early and late, and it's
It is.
I don't know if we've ever thought of always having early and always
I
having
will tell
late
you,
and
as
then
a
the
coach,
next year, and
As a previous coach, I would never wanna go always late, always early, just because of the nature of the beast. However, if we ever have a coach that is off staff and works till 5 and wants late, then so be it. But as someone who has the opportunity to go back and forth, I think it's just kind of the nature of it.
if we had another gym, it wouldn't be a big
Yeah,
deal.
see, okay, there you go. I heard that. Did you get that in the
Nobody
notes?
else
Or some other practice space
Right,
that
or theater,
that
yeah.
allowed them to shoot without having
You're
to.
right.
It's really, I mean, it's really hard on those parents.
No, I
Kudos
agree.
to all those parents who have basketball players, because when we had a foreign exchange student, we had a couple people and it about killed me. Because one was on the girls and one was on the boys, and I didn't know when was going.
Yep.
It was hard.
Any other question, maybe? Pete, do you have any? Okay, so this would be something for the board to approve next cycle,
Yep, it will be on old business on the,
and if we have questions, do we get back to you?
Sure, yeah.
we still have her for the month.
Yeah.
You do.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, annual fundraising report.
'Tis the time of year again, so we have Rick's report. Here's the so, why don't we just do the high school first? 'Cause you got that one up. So if you scroll to the top, or you've got it in your packet too. So the total sales we have were 32,000, and the total profit were 30,000, so, okay, that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And just going back to the high school, do we give this report to the different, I ask this every year, I think, right? I'm gonna ask a variation of it. Are we gonna distribute, for instance, like the DC trip pizza sales, I'm just pulling that one off, you know, so that they know, well, if I would have done XYZ, I would have gotten 50% instead of 30%.
You mean a different type of fundraiser if
Yeah.
they would have done? Anytime when they fill out the form, I ask a lot of questions
Okay.
about, are they making money on this or not? Is this and you know, sometimes there's been fundraisers that other groups have done, I said, you're not gonna do this one, they're taking all your money and we're making no profit on it.
Yeah, just feedback for some of the groups, you know, cause they're kind of in a silo, you see them all, but
No,
if they could know, hey, if you did, you know, butter braids or whatever it is, you could make twice as much money.
We definitely talk about that.
Okay.
Most of those things don't make a lot of money, but it's something to try to convince people to buy, but donation. Pure donations are the best.
All right. Any questions on high school one? Okay.
And then the elementary school is there. The magazine is their big one. And then you've got 2 book fairs. And then the only one that really they do a nice job. So it's about 50% profit for what they're getting altogether. Do you have any questions? Because Mr. Bartz is here.
And that just goes for field trips and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Besides for well, maybe the preschool goes to preschool field trips.
Preschool goes to preschool. The book fairs goes to buy books. And the magazine sale keeps dropping. People are not reading magazines, they're just getting it online, so.
Is there another option you guys are looking at to
You know,
substitute?
there are other options, but I'm really not big into having the kids going and selling stuff. I think,
Mhm. Well, as long as you make enough money for what you need.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
covering
that's
our
the main-
needs.
That's the main thing. Anybody have any questions on the elementary one? Okay, thanks. Q comp. Evaluation.
This is the annual report that will be filed. And so it will need it's just a report to the board.
Anything you need to worry about?
No, not, there were fewer teachers that hit their, SMART goal. But that's okay, because it shows that they're actually doing some stretch goals now, instead of when everybody hits their goal. It makes me wonder if the goals were set high enough, so. And
Okay.
because you can see that on the second to last page as far as, there will be some that don't get to move.
Here we are.
So when it says the percentage of probationary that met the standard to earn, we could keep them on that same, according to the contract language. If they're on step 2, we could keep them on step 2 a second year, because that 9% did not hit the performance that they needed to. The other thing we have to look at with those probationary teachers, we'd have to look at whether they're online or on-site teachers. The online probationary teachers, we always non-renew at the end of the year, because we need to make sure that we are constantly showing that no student 2 years in a row is with a teacher that doesn't earn the performance standard. And so we have 9% of the probationary, and there's 2% of the tenured staff did not earn their performance pay. So we'll need to make sure that we know who that person is, and make sure that none of the same students are with that teacher again the next year.
Okay.
And we haven't had, with the tenured staff, we typically are at 100%, so this year we'll have to chart that.
Any questions on Q comp? Okay, thanks, Quinn. Property? Insurance?
This is just, we didn't have to go out for, it wasn't a year that we had to go out for bids, so it was just a renewal year, so it doesn't require any board action, but this is just to keep you up to date on the insurance costs. it only went up at 1%. So-
I'd say that it probably went up closer to 2%, because you got that one policy of 444 that you got subtracted, but that one was $520 more than it was the previous year. It went from 440 to 4,400 to 4,900.
Okay,
So if you put that on there, you put it closer to 2%.
okay. Oh, with the new cyber insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Because
And
you
I-
got another 520 raise there. So you put that onto the change, it be up there.
but if you know that, if you're looking at cost of living being about 2.7, 2.8, it's still less
Oh,
than
yeah,
the
it's
cost
still-
of living.
2%, I mean,
It's nothing.
What's inland marine?
small.
Yeah.
What's inland marine? What's that insurance for? That premium. Right there.
The inland marine,
Yeah,
Oh, that's, inland marine here in Boyers. Boilers and that
Oh,
other.
okay, yeah,
prevention.
okay, yeah.
sorry.
Anybody have any other questions on that?
It's nice to see that our workman's comp is now, we're at the lowest rating, or at the lowest level, which is the best
Isn't
We
that
can
sort
get-
of the highest in the nation?
for workman's comp. Yeah, but we're at the
Lowest of the
Lowest
highest.
of
we're at the
Lowest of the
lowest
highest.
of the
Lowest of the
Yeah.
highest,
Yeah.
so. Okay.
There was a while there where we had a 1 point something and we're down to a 0.67. That's as low as we can go.
Any other questions on that? Okay, field trip report.
Okay. Todd really doesn't let his children go out on field trips, so this is,
That's not entirely true, but my report will be next month.
okay.
Oh.
Inadvertently missed. I apologize, Steve.
Okay, so this is,
Deep.
the La Crescent pool was a chilly day, but as long as the kids stayed in the pool, they were fine. But then when it was time to come out of the pool, no one complained and everybody went home willingly, which on nice days, that's sometimes not the case. But you can see that there's a lot of very good field trips, and our teachers are very willing to make sure that the kids' opportunities are expanded.
Anybody have any questions on it? Looks like fun.
Let's go.
We should be going.
I'll put you down as chaperones.
Sure. Moving right along, anybody have any questions on that? Okay, Hoedown, lease agreement.
I received the lease agreement from, well, actually, Ron Evanson dropped it off, and I think Mark Olson had filled it out. This is the lease agreement that we have used in the past and just updated the years. But I would like, once again, they're showing that they do have the insurance. And they would, with the drug-free school, if you could scroll up a little bit so people could see
Yeah.
there. So they have to, in order to, they will get a temporary license to sell alcohol on the premises. And I just want everybody aware of that.
Same thing has been going on for a couple of years. Just
Um,
now it's not our liability.
What condition is the field left in? Afterwards? Good.
Todd can maybe speak to that one.
It depends. Some years it hasn't been so good, some years it's been great.
it's been cleaned.
More ends.
Yeah, they,
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it looks like, it's, do they clean it out?
oh, yeah. Yeah. They have, crews in, that they pay crews to, and sometimes it's been,
The band.
band.
Sometimes it's been part of the school, cause I've cleaned it a few times, unfortunately.
Yeah, the band has cleaned it, volleyball has cleaned it,
It's fundraisers
Mhm.
for them, so.
So yeah, it always gets cleaned. But if it's been a very muddy weekend, sometimes a field takes a lot of abuse on muddy weekends.
Which rarely happens on Hoedown weekends.
Lucky.
Yeah, anybody have any questions on that? Maybe you have any? You do? Good. Okay, moving right along. Tech integrationist position.
We kind of talked about this and then people said, hold on a second, this needs to be a discussion item as far as whether we post or not. And so just to have everything out on the table. We have had tech integrationists that are part of the teachers group. We've had tech integrationists that have just been on the professional group. In looking at the salary and benefits, it would be probably a horse apiece with either one, whether it's on the professional group or someone we hire as a teacher on the teacher salary. On that cost would be about $66,000. That person would be here every day. We've had that in the past. That person could also then do the website, the Facebook, the Twitter account, work on the communication piece as well as helping teachers with Schoology, helping teachers with other of with going one-on-one, different ways of adapting curriculum, finding different ways to make that snow day, the 5-day e-learning day material, have that online. Or Dependable Solutions does have a tech integrationist. They've actually got 2 tech integrationists on their staff. Dependable Solution tech integrationist knows Schoology, they know Infinite Campus well. They could provide that help. Cost for that. We could hire when needed at $128 an hour, except that one, the as needed, you can't schedule in advance. That's just a hey, we need help. We could do the scheduled ones. It's 12 days or between 96 and 120 hours. And so we could schedule 5 hours over 24 days. And that would be, so it's a combination. It works out to about 95, between 76 and 95, depending on how many hours they're really there. Or the 24 days, and that's between the 70 to 67 to 84. At 12 days adds $9,200 and 4 cents to our contract with Dependable Solutions. The 24 days adds $16,000. So, and at the end, currently our tech integrationist does the website, Twitter, Facebook. If we contract with Dependable Solutions, we'll have to talk about who takes those over. So it's.
I think being we got Lisa here and Lisa's leaving.
Well, and
She
we
could-
also have both the
she-
principals and
Right,
they're
she could
impacted.
address what her feelings are on how many hours it takes and is it, you know, in her opinion, what should it be looked at?
Well, I'm not very good at it. Schoology is constant learning on it, just because as I continue, and I'm always emailing Dependable with questions that I get, and then we discover it, and I work with the teachers, the one-on-one. I think the one-on-one with the teachers is important, especially Schoology is right at the brink of becoming amazing. But As for the website, Twitter, and Facebook accounts, I think those need to be up to date. I don't know. That marries really. Those marry well with the AD because the AD's there, the AD, and that just seemed really natural. Whether that was the technology integration as part, I'm not sure. In that it just worked well. You're at an event, you let the world know. You find out, so. But that's my 2 cents.
So we don't have like a list of responsibilities, these are the list, we don't have a breakdown of timelines, like, Lisa would spend X amount of hours doing this, or this. Sounds like she's saying it's ongoing, some of it.
Right,
Because-
so I did AD and expected was 80 an hour a day. On rainy days, sometimes that was more than an hour a day, and other times there was no AD work due to activities being, so it really, it just flowed back and forth how it went, but it was very clear it was 1 hour a day was for the AD position.
So 1 hour a day of that, so then 7 hours of a day would be the rest of the
Right,
stuff.
and all the other stuff
With the
trying to
training
learn
and
it.
stuff. And the training, you don't have an idea how long that timeline would be?
That was kind of included with when the teachers had a prep hour, and then I'd go work with them.
Okay, so there wasn't anything set that said this is your time that you do training for this.
Not
It was
really,
just as needed type thing.
or as expected, yeah.
How about the principals, as they see it ongoing, does it appear that there's gonna be more duties and more time needed for that position?
I would recommend going with dependable and seeing if we could get them a day a week, and that'd be 36, so that'd be $26,000 a year if we could do both. And then see if we could hire a teacher or a couple of teachers to do the Facebook, Twitter, and website. I think we could get some staff members that could run with that. Then they're in-house and everyone sends stuff to them. I would lean towards maybe people who are doing yearbook. Become natural. Work with the AD. If you get anything, send it to them. And the district would save 30 grand.
Yeah.
And we'd have somebody here 1 day a week.
We have a choice of 12 days or 24 days.
We don't have,
So we can't do
we
one
can't do
each.
1 day.
We can't do more than that?
We can, there was 1 day a week, but that added, let's see, that would be 36,000.
Right.
Yeah, that's it,
Right.
yeah.
So, and we'd still save almost 30 grand if you set it 66.
But then you're saying we'd have to pay some teachers to
Teachers,
do
we figure out what it would be worth and say we save 20 grand. Then you've got somebody who's dedicated, somebody who's, they're coming over.
Oh, because then it's gonna narrow down the training time is gonna be on that day. People are gonna have to be ready for, designated time. It's not gonna be, hey.
Well,
Well, that's not necessarily true the way dependable works. I mean, they say the days, but I think they can mesh in some time where they could be here for just a couple of hours 1 day. I mean, that's the way their tech team works right now, and that's why it works so well. And if we're having a lot of problems with Schoolage or something, yeah, we can set it up.
So it could be 8 hours a
Boom,
week.
2 people are coming in, which is, sometimes better than, what we have right now. Not to saying anything against Lisa, but she's only one person. I
Right.
mean, that's what's been so nice about working with Dependable, and they're paying big bucks to have these people trained on the Schoology and the Infinite Campus, so they know those systems well, and other systems, because they're working with all these other districts as well. That's the benefit of Dependable, and since we have Dependable, there's other companies too, but I mean, Dependable is, we have a great relationship with them for the other stuff. I think that's a great thing. The Facebook, Twitter, website, it's something, we looked at a platform, the other day, and there's other potentials out there too. I had a couple of calls today from some different companies, and they do a lot of that integration between all of them as well, and some messenger things that go out. So, that would still be cheaper than another 30,000 a year, you know, if we were to redo our website where it would be easier than the present system, because I know Lisa, you know, struggle a lot with, because it's almost like you need to know HTML coding, which it'd be nice if we didn't have to have someone code in our website stuff. So that's something that we're looking at, because I know the technology committee wanted to really research that more, so I'm getting some more proposals in as well on that, so, which is a good thing.
No, at the last meeting, we had that one person in,
Apogee.
Apogee, and how much was that again?
It was $9,000 for setup, and then it was going to be $7,600 every year after that. And we're finding, there were some that I found, and I asked Todd to follow
Check
up, and
some more
so
on that.
there were some that we don't know if they do it as seamlessly as Apogee does, so we're trying to find that out.
Is that gonna go to the tech committee?
Yeah, I think we need to have a committee to look at all of those things, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know,
Next, I think we take it there, and then finance-wise, I kinda like the idea of dependable if we can get them once a week. Because I think just, you know, like you said, another thing is Lisa here is, she's limited on what she can do, and her, you know, things change constantly. If you got somebody that's already trained and doing it day in and day out, you know, that's gonna help your teachers, right? It's gonna make it more efficient, so it wouldn't take as much time, where she might have, when she just mentioned it, she ran into problems, she's calling them. So, you know, at that time, I'm assuming we're paying them, something's going, you know what I mean, and it's taking more time, not only for her, but for the teacher to learn that information. So by having somebody that already is, you know, that much more advanced, I think it's a benefit. So, I don't know what your thoughts are.
I know with Joe and Dependable, I mean, they do some for Caledonia too, and some for Rushford, so I mean, they're within the area and they work. all three.
Rushford is hiring all their tech integration through Dependable next year.
And so, I mean, we could have, if we got a problem, they're gonna stop here and take care of it on their way to Rushford or on the way back.
I think the technology committee should just look into that and make a recommendation on
I think it's, you know.
Yeah.
Like, that, I mean, it's just, I think there's some options there.
My concern is, it's 1 day a week instead of 5, obviously. And, they'll support, but who is managing Schoology? Who is managing the deployment of Schoology to make sure that we're deploying it as the board wants it? Is Dependable doing that?
Then that would then fall to, as far as making sure that the teachers have on Schoology what they need to have on, that would go to the principals.
So you guys would then be responsible for making sure that, you know, because we as a tech group or we as a board, we've invested a lot of money in Schoology, and we want to see it be successful, or we wouldn't have invested the money. And so we don't want to invest the money and then just halfway use it. We want it used, and we don't feel that it's there yet. I mean, we hear various reports, but we want to continue to get updates, and I feel like I would like somebody in-house, and I guess it makes sense if it's you guys, but you're gonna have to then step up and do that to make sure that it's happening. Because if we just wait for the teachers to call Dependable, it's not gonna happen. Somebody's gotta be managing. Dependable's coming on Friday, you teachers, I'm not involved, so I guess I don't know for sure, but that just to me seems like if we're going to fully deploy, we need somebody tracking that and making sure it's happening. So, am I wrong, Rick?
Well, I don't see the teachers calling Dependable. I see it working the other way. Dependable is going to be here on Monday.
Okay,
Your prep time is this time. Dependable's gonna pop in and see you. They'll be at the elementary school in the
Okay.
afternoon.
So that's
School.
so if they're gonna do that, then it's easy to work
Yeah.
with them, but we just need to make sure that
Yeah,
somebody is
that's-
managing that Dependable comes on every Monday or every other Monday or whatever, and half the times in the elementary and half the times in the high school.
I had breakout sessions with my staff with Dependable, and they liked working with the person. They like working with Lisa too, but no, but I mean, it's like Dependable said, this is what I did at this school. This is how you might wanna
Right.
do this as a show you how it worked, and she would say, you don't wanna do it this way because, and then she was able to help them. Now, if that was a one-time shot, if they're coming back the next week, then they can say, hey, how did that work?
Right.
Let's try this. And so, but then I could also see them saying, okay, at the beginning of the year, we're gonna be here 2 days.
Right.
And then in May, we're not going to be here.
Yeah,
So-
that may be fine
Yeah,
for what you need.
no, I think that,
You know, because by then you would hope, I mean, you're already hoping that everybody's on board on this, you know, school regime, we're already moving along
mhm.
and it's clicking. This is just to make it that much better, so.
I don't know if we can talk about it now, but the athletic director, is that a position that's been posted?
It's been posted, we have had, well, one official internal candidate who then decided he didn't want it. And we've had 2 external candidates, and having an external candidate is, for athletic director, would be very difficult, because there's so much stuff that happens during the day that an athletic director has to deal with, and needs to be, we had the issue where there was a weather incident and Lisa was traveling with the adaptive bowling, and so she couldn't get it on the website right away because she wasn't here, and we had parents calling in. And so if we've got somebody else that's not here and coming in after school, it just, the communication to me seems like it would not take place. We did have conversation about somebody who's done it before, who would be willing to do it 1 year, and then we can open it up again to see if anybody else in-house would want it.
How many hours, I mean, well, with her being gone and not being able to post, if we're taking away the responsibility of posting that sort of stuff on Facebook, it's somebody else doing it, right? So it wouldn't matter. But is it so many hours a week, like just so many dollars? To me, it's this bubble, and I don't know if it's, again, I haven't seen the job description or anything, but it seems very, just bubble, like not very well defined per se, or I get the idea it could suck all of your time as well. I'm sure Lisa will agree, because it's just like this.
There are some days that it does.
Yeah,
and
it
then
just
there are other
sucks all
days
of your
where
time.
there isn't
But
really
if
any
you're a
time.
teacher, you can't afford to let it suck all of your time. I mean, if we have somebody in the kindergarten room teaching, they can't be dealing with a snowstorm and rescheduling. So, you know, maybe if we have somebody that can't do that, they just have to say it's canceled and we have to reschedule at 3 or 4 o'clock. We'll determine when the next one is. I don't know. I mean, I just,
Correct us if we're wrong, Lisa, but isn't there extreme difficulty with this job if you were a full-time classroom teacher, having the flexibility upon the whether to cancel games and get a hold of officials and things like that?
You're definitely in a
while you're-
time crunch. A lot of ADs will try to do it by noon. Sometimes it hasn't started raining yet by noon, but you're in time crunch. And, you know, and then if the game is moved because it's not raining in Spring Grove, then you're calling the officials to see if they can get there, and then can you get other ones? And we had a situation this year where I needed to get a variance from Minnesota State High School League, and left a message saying, I have 1 ump and 1 non-certified ump, is that okay? In which then, because you leave a message, you're in the clear, but that entire day, that took a long time. And so there are other times, you know, I did it when I taught first grade the first time around. Sometimes it would be, okay, take out a book, and then I'd quick take care of what needed to be done. Or I'd have someone quick cover my classroom so I could take care of it, so.
And Todd has been AD several times. And,
He loves that position.
well, he understands it well. And
I
he
think,
might be willing to take it on.
well, I have 2 trains, I'm sure he could, but he's also one of our highest paid employees, and I'd love for him to be a principal instead of an athletic athletic director.
Well, he would take the extra stipend for athletic director and he would still get paid as
I know, but I
principal.
think it takes focus away. I have numerous conversations with my family members about this and what you're focusing on, and if you wanna be great at this, focus on it, and I'm sure it's a lot of work and it's gonna take focus from him, but I would think that if we posted the position and maybe we need to increase the pay a bit, but I
That's
would
part of the
think,
contract, and so right now
We have to go into
it's
negotiations.
in negotiations.
well, I would think that there would be some, to me, it almost seems like a perfect stay-at-home position for somebody who, works from home. You can't do all that from home.
No, no.
Why not?
Part of it is you have to get to know the kids, cause there's a supervision, at night, so you're gonna have to know the kids, and then there's eligibility concerns that you're dealing with the kids, whether it's grades, whether it's, maybe a violation of illegal substances that they were using, and so you're dealing with kids throughout the day. For someone to be at home, that just could not work that way.
Well, I guess I was assuming all of the rescheduling and all the scheduling, all the hiring of all those telephone calls and all of that. It sounds like you could,
That's a piece
do
of the
it.
puzzle, but that's
It's
just.
not
But I think like
Puzzle.
Lisa says, some days you may not do anything, but other days you may spend 3 hours on it. So it's kind of a balancing act of your time. And, I can see Todd's situation where, you have things, how is somebody from the outside gonna know where a student is? Grade, whether it be grades. I mean, it used to be when I was in, if you didn't meet a certain grade level, you weren't playing, period. You go to practice if you wanna play again, but otherwise you're not playing.
That's still.
That's the way it was. So,
and I just thought the principal took care of that. I didn't realize it was the athletic director that took care of it.
they're
Well,
kind of the
and the
babysitter
other-
of all athletic personnel.
The other thing you have to think about is, if we just grab a warm body to be an AD, it's going to be more work for Todd than if we just let him do it himself. Because he would be the first line in cleaning up.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like a coach off staff. Those are the most difficult, not to say that they don't do a great job, sometimes, but sometimes it's really difficult because they're off staff. They're not dealing with the kids on a, continual basis. They can't recruit the kids. Communication's just that much tougher when they're off staff.
And a little defense for Lisa, I'm probably one of the few people in the whole area that has a degree to be an athletic director. And I really defend her position in the sake that for us and for her and everybody involved, it's a very, very difficult position. That's probably why I never chose to hold it here, is because exactly that. One day, it's a breeze day. Got a game that night, everything's set up, life is good. The next day, there's a snowstorm, and you have a nightmare of which you can't get officials, it's terrible. The most ideal person is somebody on staff that has a flexible position in which they could have adjusted time. To get somebody outside is very difficult because they don't know the integral workings within the school. So it's very difficult for them. That's why small schools constantly have a difficulty with this position. Because large schools can pay a large sum of money for someone to do this job, and it justifies it. And that's why people like Casey Indra went to Winona, and he's an athletic director full-time there. Here, as you probably, it's not a full-time job, so it's like, how do we do this, it's
I think
difficult.
Rushford's AD is a .3. I'm not sure what the Crescent's is.
And that's assistant principal
Okay.
as well as AD.
Would be ideal if you had a teacher that had a .7, contract. And then they had some room there, but then they'd have to be willing to do it. That's another factor. So-
Well, basically, we don't have anybody that wants a job. To me.
Well, yeah, and like Quinn said, two of them, one of them, said no, didn't realize that that was the pay and thought it was like a full-time gig. And it's like, well, no, we're a small school, and we're talking, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So-
What is ours, if you were to figure it out, point whatever, is it?
For, AD, it's in the teacher contract and it's based on, 14% of a BA 0 salary. And so, it basically corresponds to 1 hour of a teacher's day. So it's right now it's a slightly under 6,000 stipend.
Could we increase it, stay with the contract, but make it be 0.2? I mean, I'm just trying to throw out ideas.
That's
conversation
negotiations.
to have.
That's negotiations.
I'm not saying it can't be talked
It
about,
can
but
be, but right now
at
we
the same
can't.
time, we have to do something in the interim. I mean,
Yeah.
for this moment in time, we have to have somebody here within the next 60 days, 30 days. How long you left here?
No,
End of July, right?
You
June
gotta get your
30th.
schedules out.
So, we're looking a few weeks.
Yeah.
So that's where
When,
we're at.
when would you say is the busiest time of your schedule for that job?
Yeah, spring. Spring is the worst, by all means. Fall, I would say, is the easiest, other than a football game, but it's Friday night and Fridays are okay, you
What
know.
about summer?
Oh, summer's good.
Good?
A couple
Volleyball.
meetings.
Yeah, summer,
Right.
you have meetings, but it's not, it's kind of refreshing.
You got
You're ending and
volleyball
you're
though too,
beginning.
besides football.
What?
And
Volleyball.
Right, but you don't, the weather doesn't cause that, so.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but is the salary for it similar to a head coaching salary?
It's $490 more than a head coach. That's it. So
Okay, so any other questions you have on that meeting? Anybody have any other questions on the ED?
do you
Or
want,
on the-
yeah, I do. Would you like me to add the 1 day a week and see if they
Yeah,
have room
Yeah,
on their
I think
staff to
would,
do
yeah,
that?
I would say
Okay.
let's add 1 day a week, see what that cost is gonna be, and
Yep.
then,
No, it
you know, if
it's,
you're looking at this.
36,000.
Right,
But I think to Rick's point, it's up to Rick and Todd. I mean, if they wanna do 2 days a week at the beginning or whatever, but it would equate to approximately 1 day a week. So more than what you have there.
yeah.
Okay.
So we,
Kinda
we're
like-
gonna- oh, yeah.
At the beginning of the year, more time, and towards the end, maybe less.
Okay. I will call Joe and see if we can do that.
And then the rest of the stuff, you guys gotta get some more information and get with the tech committee to discuss
Oh,
that.
and if we're gonna do that, then if you're getting more information, what is the next steps with all of the other things, like the website, Twitter, Facebook?
Yep.
Well, I mean,
And is that something that we're in the process of, is that something that we wanna do as far as, extra duty pay? That, add that to the, in negotiations, do we wanna add a webmaster? Do we wanna?
yeah, but we're also looking at having another company do it, right? And not
Yeah.
having it part of the school, but I think what Mimi's asking is between now and that
The
time,
No,
company.
the company
wouldn't
doesn't
enter it.
maintain it,
No.
we still maintain it.
yeah.
We still have to have somebody on site maintaining it.
Can we do
Oh.
extra for the athletic director to do it?
Well, I think that,
I don't know.
And well, let's get some information on those other companies that, have the apps and their Aptigee link and see if they add the easy button like Aptigee does.
The other thing is the person doing the announcements for the elementary and the high school should usually knows that sort of thing too. There's just a delay, right? It's not where Lisa's at a game, she can post how it's going, but the high school announcements are delayed by a day.
Yeah, but the secretaries that do, they don't update the website, they don't go on Twitter, they don't go on Facebook, they're just doing their one.
But I'm saying,
PDF.
if I was thinking through who made sense, who had the information, they
Oh.
do. It's
Oh,
just
they've
not,
got the information, yes.
that's the same sort of information we would want to go on those things. It's just a slight delay. So,
okay. All the answers? Everybody good?
Well, now, you got a hiring of a math teacher? We got to hire him, do we have a resignation of math teacher?
Yeah,
So, I mean, if
we have to find
You
one.
applying?
no, I was gonna say, if you're looking and hiring, maybe you could get somebody that besides that would also take on something
Well,
like a little
Well,
multimedia.
let's just find one first.
Let's find the math teacher first. They're,
You want me to apply? I got both of them.
Do you understand how hard this position is? I have something in the works, but it's incredibly difficult. I mean, over the years, most I've ever had is 3, didn't have any, but I'm working with Winona State, and, you know, there's a potential that we have right now that's in the works, you know, that kind of does student teaching and works into a job, and, you know, but it's very, very difficult to find a math teacher.
I was talking to another person and they were up at U of M's graduation. How many math ed majors did they have graduate this year? 0.
You understand this?
I'm in the elite.
okay, if there's no other questions on that, we'll move on. Strategic planning, marketing update.
You asked for the marketing update as far as, we're still looking at, we're getting information on the different websites, so that will come to the technology committee. Cable access channel, City and Ascentech are still trying to work out the agreement. And I talked to Chris Peterson and she said she's just been putting her focus on getting the playground done. So now that the playground is done, she feels that she can work with Ascentech and try to get that done, I'm hoping by fall. But once again, that is something else as far as, okay, if we get it, who does it? We're looking at getting a camera that can do the 360 photos. That's something that we will need to have for getting insurance pictures, and with the Akita box system, we can upload 360 photos of every room. But then also the camera can do videos, and so there are some things that we could do as far as with that camera to upload videos and whatnot to that website or the cable access channel. Education Matters, we're in the process of putting that together and mailing out the June edition. Cost of printing, that's not Ann's time, but just the actual paper ink mailing is about $200 per mailing. We could do it more frequently if but more people would have to contribute to the writing, because right now it's a lot of articles sounding like they've been written by the same person. Or we could start a marketing club.
You guys asked anything about that? Marketing club or somebody that's
Is
interested
there
in that?
some interest? How do you know there's any
Well,
interest?
Yeah.
Mr. Gatzloff has taught a class in marketing before. So if there's interest enough to sign up for a marketing class,
Yeah,
If we ever have access to a channel, that would certainly be an opportunity for
right,
yeah.
kids.
because right now there's not really, but once we get that channel, then there would be something for them to work on.
So we just-
What is holding up
Table
this
axle
whole thing?
next
It
year
seems
then?
like we've been at this for 5 years,
That has been.
Cities.
11.
11 years.
When we
It's just-
first asked about it in 2008, they said that we had to wait until the contract was due again. And we asked, what was it? We requested it and it didn't get added. And so they said we had to wait until 2018 when the contract was going to be redone. So then we asked about it again and said it was going to get on this time, and they said, well, we needed to do the official request again. And so
Oh, jeez.
I brought all that out, and then we did, and the contract came, the licensing contract came to Chris at City Hall because we are on their, contract. And, so Chris signed it, and I heard nothing, and so I called her back and I said, okay, I haven't heard anything, the contract's all signed, right? She said yes. So I contacted Sherry, Todd Raisler's assistant, and I said, it's all signed, what's the holdup? And she said she was gonna ask Darren, who was the person in charge of it. And then Darren got a hold of Chris and said that what we signed was not the official contract.
So anyways, it's in process.
But everybody else around us has
Oh yeah, they've had it for
channel
years.
access. And, Centec is stationed here,
Hmm.
headquarters, or?
I'm well aware.
are
Right
they-
down the road,
are they
you
aware?
haven't been by there.
Right now, because it's not our contract, we are kind of, and nor is it in Rushford, the school and city were allowed to do a joint licensing agreement. La Crescent, when La Crescent did theirs originally, the city of La Crescent asked for a cable access channel for the school. So the school is part of theirs, but they were given 2 channels right from the get-go.
So,
I just am trying to figure out what they gain by stalling on this all the time.
I'm not sure they know how to do it. I think that's the,
Well, they've done it for the other.
No, it's
schools.
really easy to add a channel. They,
Yeah.
it's very easy to add a
You know.
channel, very
You know the
easy,
reason.
it's all,
Yeah.
it's,
It doesn't hurt to say
before they
it.
were telling us we'd have to go up to
Exactly.
the substation to load stuff, and now it's all just computerized.
it's just too bad that we say they're right in our town, their headquarters is here, but yet we still don't have our own channel
Yeah.
for our school.
Yep.
Which is,
Talk to your board of directors,
huh?
talk to the board of directors.
Yeah,
Got Connie,
yeah, that's right
you
now.
got Gene Henderson.
Have you called them? You figure you just call into headquarters and make it happen, but obviously they don't listen very well.
Cause I called a bunch of the people who
Wow.
sent it.
It's just too bad.
I'll have to check with the board,
Okay.
Okay, MREA membership renewal?
This just came today. We knew it was coming around this time, so this will be on for approval at the next board meeting. If we keep scrolling,
Okay.
there, it'll be 2,500.
That's an increase of, same,
That's, I think, exactly what we paid last year.
they do a good job of negotiating with the legislators. And they got, they've been getting increases for the farmers to help with the MREA in terms of the amount that when they get taxed, that the agricultural isn't. And that's gonna increase over the next few years, the amount that they can put in that isn't taxed.
Okay, any other questions on that? So we'll have that next board meeting.
Yep.
Old business, items for approval, adjusted budget, talked about that.
That will need
Any-
approval.
There wasn't any changes to that, so we have a motion to approve the adjusted budget.
Motion.
Motion by Ron,
Second,
second. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, Hiawatha Valley Medical Health Contract,
They're,
mental health, mean?
yeah,
Mental health.
They are increasing it to 2 days a week, and the price is coming down to 31, a little under 3,200. So it's $900 less and a half a day more than last year.
So move to approve.
Second.
Okay, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? New business? Annual MSHSL membership renewal?
Yeah, this is just,
That's coming up, right?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay.
Question?
Yep.
Mr. Chair, part of this is you have to watch a video before you can approve this. It's part of what you're signing there. 6-minute video.
Move to approve contingent on watching the video we have to watch.
You don't wanna watch it now or
How long is it, an hour?
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
The $110 per activity, how many activities do we have? Is that the ones listed that you sign, go like to 5? It's not all,
well, we have to pay for the ones we're co-opted as well.
co-opt as well, okay.
Do we pay half?
No, each school pays.
Each school pays. And so that's why in our agreement with, if you guys approve the agreement with Montessori, they're willing to pay the $110 for each of the
Doesn't
activities.
seem right that they're charging 2 schools. And they only typically get 1 fee from each school. And now they're charging, what if you have 3 schools cooperate, they get paid 3 times the money then.
Yeah, it's a great deal.
They're not making a lot of money on
No.
those fees.
No.
And there are 3
Okay,
schools some
so
places.
we have a motion, we have a second, discussion. Do you wanna watch the video? So we got that? And you got that video for us to watch, or?
I'm just asking
Todd
him.
answered.
Huh? He's taking over.
Moving right in.
You get your play?
By the time students reach middle school, their families have already spent an incredible amount of time, energy, and resources on their child's sports experiences.
Private coaches, tryouts, travel tournaments, and increasing pressure to specialize in a single sport at an early age. The reality is less than 3% of our athletes will ever go on to play college, and less than 1% of our athletes will ever play professionally. This means 97% of our students will have a terminal experience. When they graduate, their competitive playing days are over. So what's the purpose?
The purpose is the human growth and development of our students and connecting them to caring adults in their learning community.
For this to happen, it takes leadership and a community aligned around this purpose.
The purpose of a caring adult in students' lives has never been more important. Students face an incredible amount of pressure. There's peer pressure and social pressure and academic pressure and pressure to perform on the playing field or in the arts area. And what that's resulting in is a mental health crisis, where kids are facing anxiety and depression. There's a study called Hardwired to Connect that identifies 3 fundamental needs that every human being has. The need to belong, the need to have some type of moral development, and we define moral as relationships to other people. And then that base community, which is really being held accountable to a set of expectations and boundaries. Athletic and activity programs can really provide a caring community for students. It's a place for them to be connected. It takes leadership to intentionally create connections and to create a culture that supports students in a caring community.
My purpose statement is to coach to create a love of the game and foster community and growth among our student athletes.
Shift your weight forward and backward. Good. The AD is the front-facing public person that's really leading the charge for all of the things that happen within that program that again are so beneficial to the student.
A strong activities director, athletic director is going to have the pulse of their school, is going to influence and impact the students through others, and create that experience that we're looking for all kids.
In my particular role as the activities director, I call it leading from the middle out. I need to work with my principal and my superintendent, and I need to work with my school board to understand what purpose-based activities are, what they look like, what they should feel like with our student athletes. And then I need to train coaches, work with athletes, work with our student body.
The value of a strong activities director for the entire system is something that I can't put a price tag on. We've got 3 brand new board members, and it's important for school board members to understand the purpose of our activities and athletic programs so that they remember their role in supporting our work and supporting our staff and in supporting our activities director and what he does.
There you go. We are really here to change the arc of every athlete's life. I think the most important thing I do is connect students to each other, connect students to the school day, connect students to meaningful adults.
We want to win a state tournament. We want to have a winning record. But what's most important than that is having a winning culture.
It's all about the student experience, and that doesn't necessarily equate to winning, but that equates to being able to walk away saying, I had fun, I got better, I did the best that I could, I want to continue, I know more about myself, and I'm more prepared for whatever might come my way in the future.
We have to align our communities in order for athletic administrators and coaches to be supported.
Our school board knows that we're about more than just wins and losses, that we're part of the educational program and part of the educational system. It's great to be able to show up at work every day knowing that you're supported by your school board, your superintendent, and your principal, and that you have the ability to support your coaches, athletes, participants, and their families. It's very important that you have all of those important stakeholders in alignment and that they understand what the common language is and what it means to have a successful experience.
My purpose as a captain is to use the sport of baseball to help teach life lessons that'll help people down the road.
The adults are purposeful and deliberate about engaging with students about something bigger than themselves. I may do it in my social studies classroom by teaching history, and I may then later do it in my role as a softball coach. But the experience that the kids get, that alignment that is tied through, is that we are here to impact your life in a positive way.
There's no more rewarding feeling for me as an activities director to hear them say that they became a better person through their participation in our activities.
I think the greatest thing that a school board can do is to define success, to publicly state that here's how we are going to define success within our school community. Are we growing and developing better people? Are we modeling the kind of character that we want our students to leave our school communities with and go into the world with? Awareness is critical. We have to be aware of the purpose of why sports are part of our school community. And finally, not only do we have to hold our coaches accountable, we have to hold our school communities accountable to the transformative power of what sport can be, and that is connecting students to caring adults in their learning community.
Thank you, Todd.
Okay, so we got a motion, we had a second, we watched the video. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Policy, first reading. Ron, is anything gonna bring up on that this time, or?
No, it's all the same, I think.
Announcements, sporting events?
Oh, thank you to Ron and Jean for traveling up to the MNVA graduation.
Exciting.
That was a good graduation, good facility.
Yeah,
Sure.
I asked Shelley to book it for next year.
Meetings and committee updates, HFED.
HFED, let's see, we did approve our contract for our IT person. That's his is at $59,000 for the IT. So you mentioned 66, maybe I could get him to come down here.
But 59 is a salary?
Yeah.
Yeah, add benefits to it,
Yeah.
it's well over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
59 is his salary.
Yeah.
And then, they also approved for another half-time or 0.6 psychologist for the MNVA. So we
They
got,
approved that?
I think so, 2 points. Yeah, because the cities in the area, because they're gonna have transportation for the person, because.
I just got a text asking if we would want a 0.6 today.
And that, I think they,
When did they approve it?
I just talked to her today on it. So
Okay.
she maybe didn't approve it yet. Because most of the meeting was spent with going over the budget. They don't have that ready yet. So, yeah.
We've got a finance meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
HV.
Okay, facility committee meeting, we had a facility committee meeting, just gone, Pete and I were there, we went over 10-year plan review, kinda talked about long-term facility maintenance, some of the things have to be adjusted, taken off the list, and moved to where they belong, correct, Ken? So, we'll get a new one and send it out to everybody, so you can look at it if you have any questions. We talked about the Owen Onsgaard court signage, replacing the sign out there, evidently it's looking bad or it's chipped or something, so they gave us a quote, I think we're gonna get another quote, or are we kind of sitting on that for the Onsgaard one?
We could get another quote, but
Yeah.
Were we checking on it being done where?
oh, no,
the quality would stay?
Yeah,
the quality would stay, and then also timing.
time-wise.
Time
So
on the court.
we may be discussing the time, because right now the court closes at 9. But if we had to close at 10, and this discussion came up when the court was built, then the city would be responsible for it.
The city could help with.
Monitoring.
Monitor it, because right now, city parks close at 10, and so then they do the sweep around town at 10.
Ron, you live over there.
And
You
Ron.
see
He locks it down.
Do you see
Ron
this
locks it.
problem?
Yeah, well, you're gonna have neighbors complaining about it again then.
But I mean, are the kids misusing it? I mean, are they out there at
Actually,
midnight?
this year I haven't even been locking it, because they're usually out of there by 9.
Okay.
Most of the time, the kids are out there, and if they're not out of there by 9, then I get a phone call.
We just looked at it as the fact that if we extended it to 10, then the city takes over supervision of, driving by and
It's
checking
not a
in.
problem, it's between 9 and 10 that's the problem,
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
from the neighbor standpoint,
Right.
because a couple of people there get up early, so they go to bed at 9 o'clock.
I just thought it was great that kids are doing a positive thing at that time of the night.
Yeah.
Rather than
Yeah.
the other things they could be doing.
Well, whatever you say is fine with me, but yeah, if you change it to 10, then
Whatever.
chips
Okay.
fall where they may, but we will have unhappy people.
Yeah, we
And
talked
and
about
it has not been working that bad.
Okay.
the way it is, okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we need more new signs there, so it's not that much money, it's $300, $325 for 3 new signs. Elementary school sidewalk, we got a bid, but we're not gonna go with the bid. We're gonna repair, Rick said there's like 4 spots that need to be fixed. So that's what we're gonna focus on, just fixing those 4 locations and not redoing the whole sidewalk. Utility vehicle for Browns, still in discussion. We got another bid for, I think the John Deere was 25,000.
And
This
then-
one's 27,000.
For the Kubota.
For the Kubota, so we're still looking for,
They had one that they had in Caledonia that was brand new, but they just test drove it on the lot, and it was, on Facebook, it was 10,000.
that's what I talked to him about. I
Yeah,
told
Tom
him
said it was almost the same as what our quote was.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
There's a lot
So
of
if you wanna just, get
So-
the information on that
A lot
one.
of different directions. we can
Yeah,
go.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, so there's more to come on that. Otherwise, most of the stuff we've already discussed, so, and then we talked about going to see the garage. On the sign that's gonna go over the building out here, soon to come this summer.
Yes,
They just had to do some
measuring and
Measuring,
redesigning because of the facade that's out there can't support it, so they're going to have to make it wider than what they had originally planned. So it fills the entire opening, because they're gonna have to anchor it to the brick on the side.
So, other than that, we discussed the garage, we're gonna do a walkabout, but maybe if we wanna do it after the board meeting, we can do that, if everybody wants to go look at it. Other than that, was there anything else?
Yes, on the long-term facility maintenance, we will have to approve this, the 10-year plan. It has to be approved before July 31st, so it will be at our July 18th board meeting. One thing that we will be adding to that, in 2020, we will add one boys' bathroom for the elementary, and then in 21, we'll add the other boys' bathrooms, so we'll do one in June and one in July. So then the whole price doesn't get in one calendar year. We can spread it over 2 calendar years and get it done in 2 months. And then the girls' bathroom will be in 2022 and 2023. We'll get the girls' bathroom done.
So I had to get quotes on it, yeah.
Right.
We discuss a new entry for the elementary gym, the walk.
That's already been approved. We're just waiting for the work to get done.
Yeah.
That's the ramp and everything.
Yeah, that's the ramp and the handicap. Yeah, that's already,
Oh, so that's
That's been a-
on the docket.
Yeah.
that's been approved. We've already budgeted for it, as with preschool steps. That's already
I
been.
thought we approved it, but I haven't seen any action, so I
Yeah,
just.
the weather kinda just made it stop, and now it's gonna start again.
Chris Nelson is,
Yeah, so,
Okay.
any other questions on the facility? Okay, anything else, superintendent, feedback, thank you?
Oh, we've got a thank you from Deb Rokenbrock, whose husband passed away suddenly. And as I'm getting that out, future agenda item, it is time that we renew our board-approved levy. And so at our next board meeting, we will have the resolution to renew the board-approved levy again. She wrote a letter, and then at the end, she wrote the support of MNVA has meant so much during this difficult time, thank you. But we sent a memorial on behalf of the school district to her, and it was just so she could designate it to any of the charities that her husband was a minister, so.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Anybody have anything else? So do a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Have a second? Second? Yeah, all in favor? Opposed? Okay.
Yeah, just to make sure she understands.
Okay,
Because then we gotta
and
walk
now
outside.
if anybody would like to go out and see the